Okay. Just a little bit like this. And it sort of just goes into it. The only way I really know how to describe it is a Fibonacci sequence, but it's not exactly that. I mean, you could technically just do the Fibonacci sequence and this would work right here, but I would not suggest it. And then it goes in, and then it starts to come right back out. Okay, I'm going to stop there with this line for now, because what I want to show you guys is that this line here actually does continue, and it comes back out about here. And then where it connects is about right here. Okay, and now they are connected. Oh, this line here, I was a little bit off. It's well, not a little bit, it's a good bit larger than that, than what I had it. Yeah, as you can see, it's a good bit larger than what I had it at. Now, I'm making my lines really dark, but that's mainly because I know I can get rid of mine. You guys aren't going to want to do that. Sorry about the positioning right there, guys. I just wanted to go ahead and get that line erased so that I can show you guys. It looks a little bit, I kind of want to say nice, or not nice, but friendly of a turn, not so edgy and sharp. You want it to sort of round out, almost like a circle. Well, exactly like a circle, but not quite, more like a horseshoe shape. See? And then you're gonna want to come back out with this line and come like this. Sorry, guys. If I had a stand for my phone or in my camera, then this would be a lot easier. Okay, you don't want it there. You want it to come out a good bit. So you see, these two lines have a lot of space between them. And then this one comes over about like this. It goes like that. Go ahead and get rid of that line. You see, it's coming together just a little bit more now. And we do have a good bit, we do have just a little bit more to do with these swirls in this picture, but not too much. So, what we're going to do next is we're going to finish off this swirl right here. Oh, my bad. I was a little mistaken. this line right here. Now all these lines are going to connect on the other side of what I call this, to shorten this out, I'm going to call it the pyre. All of these are going to connect on the other side of the pyre, so you want it to look like they're just flowing behind it. So with this line, we're going to go ahead and show where that one connects now. And what I like to do is I like to take my pencil and I like to sort of guide myself until I get to the point I want to be at on the other side. And for this particular line, I want it to be about here, but it helps me visualize in my head that it does flow through it if I go about like this. Okay, so you see, when I did that, I imagined it in my head, and I realized it would be nicer about a 1/4 centimeter up. So, or actually it'd be about a centimeter, because what's going to happen is it's going to hit, this line is going to go through and hit about here. And then it's going to come through. And then you're going to want it to start heading back up. It's just going to stop about there, okay? And then I'm going to start erasing this line really quick. I'm actually going to shorten this line just a little bit. Not too much, but just enough to sort of even out the entire picture. So it's going to come, instead of doing that, it's going to come about like this. It's going to come up about there. Because this line right here actually comes around and it does a number, sort of like a number like this. And it swirls back around into that. But it's a little bit larger than you might think. So go ahead and get this line in. The best way I can describe this line right about here is sort of like a golf club. And then it comes in really close and around. That's why I messed that up. That happens does a sort of like that. This line actually connects here. I was mistaken. Okay, erase that just a little bit. And then come around like this, make that little space in between these lines here a little bit bigger. And it connects just like that. And then from there, we're going to want to take this line here, and we're going to sort of round it out and start to bring it back up. I didn't want that line to be so thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it like that. Okay. There you have that. Now this line actually does continue right here. So you're going to want to sort of make it look just a little bit more like that instead of just going straight up and ending. So it's going to do about like that. And then it's going to come back out right about here. So you're going to want to line this, where it comes out here, up about right with this. So it's going to come across and right about there. There we go. And there we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw in some of the actual star shapes just to sort of show you guys where they're going to be. And the first one I'm going to draw is going to be right up here by this moon. It's going to be about here. Now if you're going to be coloring this like I am for this tutorial, then you aren't going to want to make these lines as dark as I am. It's just that that's I guess you could say side effect from the way that I draw. It's just something that I do. It's not something that I enjoy particularly because it really hampers what I can draw and how I can draw it. Which is why a lot of the time, if you find one of my artworks, you aren't going to find it colored. You're going to find it drawn and then shaded. Like the first one I showed you guys when this video opened. Then you see it connect like that. And voila, there is the first one. And as you can see from my original, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, I'd say about 1, 2, 3, 4. There's going to be about 4, maybe 5 of the smaller ones, and there's going to be a huge one right here. I know on that first one the lines are kind of hard to see, guys, but that's because I was trying to get the lines to be as dark as I could. Okay. Okay, and then for this line right here, I'm going to sort of round it out a little bit more, make it sort of, not round it out, but more flat, because that's going to be where the crook of the elbow, I guess, where that big star shape is going to go. And right about here, I would say it's okay to go on and go through this line because you can come back in and adjust it. But this moon shape right here is going to be very important, and it's a very big central piece to this picture. So you're going to want it to be, just go with your gut feeling on this one. Make it the size that you want it to be, and then adjust those swirls around it. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how you can adjust those swirls. So what you're going to want to do is erase a good bit of the line on both sides. This is actually going to help to add space here, because you're going to want to erase down to about here, right there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come back up and around. But what you do want to keep in mind is this swirl here does actually come up and touch up against this one. So you're going to want to do about like that. Okay. And then you've got another small one right about here. And then you've got a sort of half moon-shaped star right about here. And you've got another star right about here. Oh, that did not turn out right, so I'm going to erase that one. It's a little bit better. Okay. Now, one thing that when I shaded, I did actually sort of get rid of was right about on here, right there. It actually comes around, and where you can see those buildings, there's a line that comes up, and it's sort of like foliage right about there, and trees, and then it also happens right here. And there are two lines that branch off from there, and then there's sort of like a gap right about here between it. And that's that lighter area that you can see. So what I'm actually going to do, guys, is I'm going to take this drawing video, and I'm going to take that and make it that a video, and then I'm going to take the actual coloring of this picture and make it sort of like a part 2 or maybe even a part 3, depending on how long these videos actually are, or this depending on how long it actually took me to draw this. I may even have to speed it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw those lines that you saw me pointing out. And it starts, this top line starts about here. Wait. Yeah, right about here. And it comes down, then it comes back up. It goes down a little more. It comes back up, and this is about where you're going to want to put your steeple to your church, the steeple on your church. I would say it comes up about here, and then like that. Okay, and then it's going to come up, and I'd say about 2 centimeters up from that, or about 1.5 centimeters actually. And then it's going to come up, and it's going to just be a point. It's just going to be a very acute triangle. Erase that, it's way too dark. And once again, just like with the other ones, this line does continue. I'm just stopping right now so I can get the steeple of this church in. It actually goes down a good bit further than that. It goes to about there. Okay, and then you're going to want to do the other side. And then about like that. And then it comes in just a little bit about here and here. And then it's sort of like a half moon shape right about here. And then continuing on with this church, I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. It comes down about here. And then this one comes down even further than that one, so you're going to want to put that down just a little bit further. Okay, and then you come back up to this point about here. And then you're going to want to come down and do sort of like the shape you did for the outline of the moon up here. And then about here. And then here. And what I'm going to do first is, for these buildings, I like to sort of do the tops first. do all the top lines and then go back and I'll do the sort of inside lines, inner lines. So it comes up about here. Then it goes, and you get the flat side part of the roof right about there. And then you got the front. And I'm going to go ahead and put this line here because I do have trouble with that one sometimes. And there we go. And then right about halfway right here, you're going to want to put a line straight out, right about there. And then come out with it. Go in just a little bit, not too much. And then you're going to want to go straight down. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, right here guys, I'm not even going to bother to cut this out. I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys see what happens when I mess up. I'm going to have to erase this whole church thing. Yeah, as you guys can see, there's a really dark like outline where the lines were. That'll go away when I start like painting or coloring. But for now, those are just going to be there. Yeah, down to about there. And now we can go ahead and start with the inside of, or just under the steeple of the church. And then just do like I showed you guys before. It's going to come down about to there. And it's going to come out to about there. For this top part here, the lines on the right are always longer. So just make them just either a little bit longer or about twice the size, anywhere from twice the size of the line on the left, or to, you know, just go with what you feel like. Because it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And now to finish off this sort of church shape. Come out with it, go to about there. I am having to like make these lines larger than you see on this one right here because this canvas is so much larger. It's about an inch or two longer in any direction. So. Okay. Oh. Yeah, see, I made that line just a little bit too long. It needs to be about there. And this comes down just a little bit more until it connects with right there. And then this is going to come down. And then right about here, there is sort of like a stone thing. Even on the one I had as a sort of example, it was just sort of like a lopsided stone looking shape. And then you're going to have, it's technically supposed to be stairs. You can tell because there's a massive doorway right about here. Okay. Or actually, that might be a bush and that's a window. Because that's not even the front door. Okay. Okay, and then from here, you're going to want to come down just a little bit. Then connect right here. And right about here, I'm going to go ahead and finish off this part of the roof here with that. Now that's the only place on this actual part of the drawing that you can actually see the dimensions of, or sort of like depth in the actual roof. There are other places, but for this particular building, that is the only place that you can see it. So, and then right about here, this line here needs to be about equal with this curve that you're going to do. Yeah. It's sort of like you're in math class and you're trying to figure out the angle there, and you have the curvature, but you don't have the actual other angles, so you know, if you want to think about it like that. And then this line here is going to come down. It's going to be a line that comes down here. And then there's also going to be a line that comes down right here. Sort of make that a little bit steeper, so it looks a little bit more even. Okay, and then right here you do have an actual sort of stair stepway looking thing. So, you know, sort of. Okay. And then just a little bit up into this curve, you're going to have a slanted roof. So you're going to come down like that, and about like, about here, and you're going to come, do something a little bit like that. Go like that, and then you're going to come down right about here. And then right about here, you've got another little door shape. And that pencil was just used to death. So over here, you have another little building over here. You need to do that. Oop. So right about here, I'd say right about here, you're gonna put a line. Just send it straight up. And then you're going to have this. Stop it right about there. And then you're going to come up like so. It does need to be higher up than this other roof over here. And then you're going to come back over. And let's say stop it about there. And then you're going to come down about like that. And then right here, you actually have a small window that protrudes actually from the house. You're going to come down. And then right here, you do have a little bit of depth that's given to the picture. Because it goes back about like this. And you have a little window protruding from your house now. And then it comes back from here to there. And then you have a line coming down right here and right here. And then you have another little roof coming out from this one right about here. Go over with it. And you want to put your triangle, signify that it is a roof. Oop. It's a little bit too big. Erase the excess. And then from there, you're just going to want to put it like that. And then bring it down. But only bring it down to about here because there is another little building. And you do want to be able to fit that in there. So right about here, I'd say. Yeah, so I'm going to want to erase just a little bit off these lines here, make those two even. You're going to come out. Like so. Then you're going to do that. And then you're going to go over. Let's say do about like that. Come down with your little house. And then right about here, I made all of this just a little bit too big for this actual canvas. So for you, it's going to look a little bit different. But what you want to do is you're going to want to take your pencil, put a line right about there. And then it's going to go out to about, say, here, and then it's going to come down. And then you should have just, just a little bit of extra room right about there. Okay. Now, like I was talking to you about earlier, the foliage. Wait, almost forgot. Go ahead and give you guys an update of how it's looking in comparison. So you've got the picture, the original picture I did, and then you've got this. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this foliage in here so it doesn't look blank right there. Okay. So you're going to want to come out right about here.